wanted to make this video because I feel like most players either don't know this occurred, don't care that this occurred, or have completely forgotten. Based on the comments I get from people in my everyday life and comments that I see on the forums, there's arguments about what is private property and what is not. So I decided it was time on this channel for me to cover this topic. Homeowner files class action lawsuit telling Pokemon Go to get off his lawn. A homeowner in West Orange, New Jersey filed a request for a class action lawsuit against defendants Niantic, the Pokemon Company, and Nintendo. And the homeowner's case was that the defendants placed Pokestops and Pokemon gyms on private property without the consent of the property owners and then proceeded to profit from players invading private property. The homeowner became aware that his backyard contained Pokemon when strangers began gathering in front of his house holding up their cell phones. The lawsuit alleges that at least 5 players knocked on his door and asked if they could gain access to his backyard to catch Pokemon. I mean, that sounds like every Pokemon Go player I know. Not necessarily the knocking on the door, but, standing near or on private property, playing the game completely oblivious to anybody living nearby. The lawsuit asks that property owners and the lawyers who are representing the homeowners are paid and that Pokestops and Pokemon gyms not be placed on private property without consent. Here is another article from September 6, 2019, and it says the Pokemon Go developer has agreed to take measures in preventing trespassing. It says 3 years later, so that was the original article was 2016, Niantic has agreed to settle the suit without accepting liability and finds itself with $4 million United States dollars in legal fees, and will also pay the plaintiffs 1,000 American dollars each. In addition to the payouts, Niantic has agreed to implement anti-trespassing messaging into Pokemon Go. It will also cease placing Pokestops and gyms near single-family residences or other potentially problematic locations. I don't quite know exactly what that means, but it could be military bases, cemeteries, schools, things like that. One clause of the settlement states that if a Pokestop or gym is placed within 40 meters, that's huge, of a residence, the owners may file with Niantic to have it removed. This article from February 15th, 2019, The Hollywood Reporter, actually listed some of the conditions that Niantic agreed to. Upon complaints of nuisance or trespass and demands of the removal of a Pokestop or gym, the company will make commercially reasonable efforts to resolve the complaint and communicate a resolution within 15 days. So if somebody, property owner, contacts Niantic and says, I want you to remove this, they have to respond and have a resolution within 15 days. Owners of single-family residential properties get rights of removal within 40 meters of their property. So if you live across the street from a park and there is a gym in that park and you don't like it there, it doesn't matter that it's a park. That homeowner can contact Niantic and say, I want this removed. So what does that say for that tiny little stretch between the sidewalk and the street that everybody argues isn't private property and you should be able to put a Pokestop there? What does that say? That is definitely within 40 meters. Niantic will maintain a database of complaints in an attempt to avoid poor placement. Again, I don't quite know exactly what that means. When Niantic's system detects a raid of more than 10 players congregating, a warning message will appear on their screens reminding them to be courteous and respectful of surroundings. Now, all of you players that are new to the game, you may not remember this, but us, we were playing in 2019, and we remember this well. The moment this popped up on our screens, this lawsuit was huge. Niantic is also working with user reviewers, that was me, and mapping services like Google Maps to also mitigate any problems plus maintaining a mechanism so that park authorities can request a park's hours of operation be honored. I do know this has occurred. The park or the city or the town, whatever, can contact Niantic and say, I want everything to disappear after operating hours, and Niantic has to comply. Why am I making this video? The reason is I am really tired of seeing this argument about little free libraries or statues or fountains or signs in that tiny strip between the sidewalk and the street, and how this is not private property, it should be in the game. From players that weren't even playing then, that don't even know about this lawsuit. Now, I did find something written, it said Niantic was agreeing with this for 3 years, and I think that's why this actually vanished from their website. They told us originally when this happened, don't approve anything within 40 meters of a house. So we were questioning, okay, well, if there's a basketball hoop in a park next to a house, or a playground in a park next to a house, that's within 40 meters. Does that mean that doesn't qualify? We were arguing that back and forth with each other. That is all gone. It seems everybody has forgotten about that. So I think that Niantic has been a little more lenient. The time has run out. But that does not mean that you should go putting statues or fountains or little free libraries in front of your property so that you can get a Pokestop. Remember this. Any single one of your neighbors within 40 meters of you can have it removed.